It was supposed to be a celebratory night in New York City honoring filmmakers whose powerful stories raised awareness about life with different abilities. The prestigious Real Abilities Film Festival had become an annual highlight for movie fans seeking out unique narratives that explored the nuances of the disability experience. At this year's festive opening night premiere for the highly anticipated indie drama, Ezra, celebrities and activists packed the historic theater, excitedly buzzing about the emotional tour de force performance from the film's lead actor portraying a young man struggling with mental health challenges. Among the evening's celebrated guests was renowned actress, comedian and co-host of The View, Whoopi Goldberg. The progressive firebrand had been a fervent supporter of Real Abilities' mission for years, frequently lending her iconic voice to raise funds and awareness for the vital organization. As the auditorium lights dimmed in preparation for the screening, Goldberg settled into her plush reserved seat in the front row of the theater alongside the fest's other VIP attendees. She offered a warm smile and handshake to the fest's director as he welcomed her. Little did Goldberg know that her festive mood was about to make an unexpected sour turn into utter disgust and outrage. An uninvited guest was about to make a monstrously discourteous appearance that would send shockwaves through the entire venue. Just as the opening scene of Ezra began playing out on the big screen, a hallway door at the rear of the auditorium swung open, allowing the obnoxious flashing of camera bulbs to pierce the darkened room. Immediately, Whoopi and others whipped around at the rude distraction, mouths agape at the entitled latecomer brazenly attempting to interrupt the solemn screening already in progress. To their disbelief, the bombastic arrivals were none other than Meghan Markle and her housemaid, strutting inside as if they owned the prestigious film fest's opening night festivities. The flabbergasted audience could scarcely believe the audacity as the notorious former Duchess swanned down towards the front rows, obliviously waving off the scowling staff and clearly presupposing some non-existent VIP treatment. As Meghan reached the third row and began scanning about for a pair of prime seats fit for unearned royalty, the astounded Whoopi Goldberg finally regained her powers of vocalization from her front row perch. "Who, in the hell, do you think you are?" the entertainment legend barked at top voice towards the disruptive pair. Meghan jerked around with a start as if just registering the hundreds of disgruntled faces glaring towards her. For a brief moment, she appeared genuinely dumbstruck at the hostile reception in a room she clearly expected to be treated like Hollywood royalty. But this was no staged late-night comedy show or publicity-orchestrated sideshow. This was a prestigious and deeply emotional cultural event appreciating the struggles of life with disabilities. And Meghan's impossibly clueless and disrespectful gate-crashing antics were immediately rending the sanctity of the solemn occasion in two. Meghan's widened eyes darted back towards the scowling face of Whoopi Goldberg, clearly registering the seething contempt radiating from the renowned actress. The auditorium remained paralyzed in an appalled hush, the solemn opening scenes of Ezra still flickering forgotten on the screen before them. "Well? We're all waiting for an explanation, young lady." Whoopi barked again, her voice thundering through the chamber. Markle opened her mouth to respond, but quickly furrowed her brow as if realizing how badly she'd breached proper decorum. The cameras flashing from the gaggle of her staffers behind her clearly weren't going to aid this increasingly tense situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for disrupting your event this evening," she offered with a strained smile towards the crowd, hands raised in a guise of innocence. "My team simply had a bit of a communications confusion on timing and—" "Oh, cut the crap," Whoopi interjected with a dismissive swipe of her hand. "We all know you weren't told jack about some non-existent invitation here. You just couldn't bear the thought of New York happening without your Royal Highness making a grand entrance." A smattering of muted gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience at the View co-host's scathing rebuke. Meghan's face visibly flashed with indignation at being so pointedly scolded like a misbehaving child. "With all due respect, Ms. Goldberg, I don't believe that's—" "No, you don't get to claim respect after being so fresh and nasty as to interrupt this event celebrating amazing, hard-fought performances about human dignity and struggle," Whoopi thundered, rising from her seat to glower directly at Meghan. "This is a sacred space, one you've got no claim over with your embarrassing, thirsty stunts for publicity wherever you go. Have you no shame whatsoever?" Meghan opened her mouth to protest, but Goldberg swiftly raised a silencing hand, her eyes burning with intense admonition. Off to the side, festival officials looked on in panicked uncertainty over whether to intervene or allow the tongue-lashing to play out. The saddest part is, you do this all for your own selfish brand, never once taking a moment to embrace the real spirit behind why these films matter so much, Whoopi continued, shaking her head. These stories are slices of life that millions of disabled people and families deal with daily, their real struggles for inclusion, human worth and visibility in a world not built for them. The jilted Duchess blinked as if to intercede, but Golberg barreled onward undeterred. Meanwhile, you're so blinded by your own ego, you think these are just fun little celebrity spaces to arrogantly inject yourself into for narcissistic validation, while you've never had to persevere through a single damn day of real hardship in that privileged life of yours. The auditorium sat in a thick tension as Whoopi's indelicate but salient critique hung in the air. To their credit, the audience offered no cheers or catcalls, absorbing the admittedly harsh but well-earned dressing down in a respectful silence. For a long moment, Meghan seemed to be struggling to recover her usual Duchess poise and command, clearly caught off guard by the unexpected public lashing. Finally, she managed to lift her chin with a measure of dignity. "I apologize again for the disruptive entrance," she offered with a terse nod. "That was inconsiderate of me." With that small mea culpa, Meghan spun on her heels to stride back out of the auditorium, her staffers scattering to follow in her wake as she retreated from the event, head bent low in an embarrassment from which her celebrity brand image may never recover. Back in her seat, Whoopi exhaled and resumed her posture, subtly smoothing her dress as the momentary furor subsided. She checked in with the festival organizers, who offered sheepish thanks for speaking up and restoring proper decorum, albeit in characteristically blunt Golberg fashion. With the uninvited gatecrasher banished, the slated program for Real Ability's biggest night was able to resume in the reverence and dignity the occasion deserved. Audiences could again focus their attention on the powerful lead performance in Ezra that so achingly represented the often underappreciated perspectives of life lived with mental and physical differences. For her part, Whoopi seemed satisfied to have resolutely defended the hallowed event's integrity from such an oblivious intrusion. She later reflected that guarding sanctuaries like Real Abilities from celebrity self-importance was always more vital than scoring woke point. Sometimes protecting what really mattered required risking offense with some righteous truth. And the truth that disgraced Duchess Meghan Markle deserved to hear was how little grace and discernment she showed to those quietly persevering through actual disadvantages, rather than merely performing them as fashionable accessories.